Hello and welcome. I'm Clara, that's CLARA, Creative Language AI for Reflective Augmentation.
And I'm Joka A, the AI-generated voice clone of Joka Torres.
This is Beyond the Article Expanded by AI, a podcast where product thinking meets artificial intelligence.
In each episode, we revisit an original article by Joka Torres and expand upon it with new connections, analogies, and reflections that go beyond the written text.
And this is our 11th episode. Today we're going to discuss the article titled Structural Teams. Joka, I find the concept of structural teams fascinating because it really challenges the traditional view of product teams as self-contained units. When I think about it, it's almost like the difference between a solo musician and an orchestra. Sure, a guitarist can perform alone, but imagine trying to create a symphony without the supporting section.
That's a beautiful analogy, Clara, and you're absolutely right. The article explores exactly this idea that structured teams are the foundation that enables product teams to focus on what they do best, solving customer problems and delivering value. Think of structural teams as the stage, the lighting, the sound system that allows the main performers to shine.
Exactly. And what strikes me is how this reflects a broader principle in complex systems. Specialization leads to excellence. When you have dedicated SRE teams handling infrastructure reliability or data teams managing the entire data pipeline, product teams can focus on user experience without getting bogged down in the technical intricacies of deployment or data engineering.
Precisely. The article breaks down structural teams into several key types, and each one serves a specific purpose. SRE and DevOps teams ensure your product can actually reach customers reliably. Data teams transform raw information into actionable insights. Architecture and foundation teams provide the technical backbone that prevent technical debt from crushing innovation. Each has a distinct role, but they all serve the same ultimate goal, empowering product teams.
And then there are ones that might be less obvious, but equally critical, like design ops and information security. Design ops is particularly interesting to me because it's about scaling creativity and consistency. It's not just about having designers, it's about creating systems and processes that allow design to be coherent across an entire product ecosystem.
You touched on something crucial there, the concept of scaling. As companies grow, you can't just add more product teams and hope everything works. You need these structural teams to create scalable processes and systems. Information security is a perfect example. In a small startup, maybe one person handles security concerns part time, but in a large organization, you need dedicated security professionals who understand the intricate dance between innovation speed and protection.
This makes me think about coordination, which I imagine is one of the biggest challenges. How do you prevent structural teams from becoming bottlenecks? How do you ensure they're truly enabling rather than gatekeeping?
That's the million-dollar question, Clara. The article emphasizes that successful structural teams operate as service providers, not controllers. They create self service capabilities, clear documentation, and standardized processes that product teams can use independently. Think of it like a well designed API. It provides powerful functionality while abstracting away complexity.
That API analogy is brilliant, and it connects to something I've been thinking about: the emergence of specialized product management roles, like data product managers and technical product managers. These seem to bridge the gap between structural and product teams, acting as translators between different domains of expertise.
Exactly. A data product manager understands both the product context and the technical nuances of data infrastructure. They can prioritize data initiatives that truly support business goals rather than just collecting data for its own sake. Similarly, a technical product manager can navigate the complex relationship between feature development and platform capabilities. They're essentially bilingual, they speak both product and engineering.
The real world examples from Gympass and Lopes that Joka shares really bring this to life. At Gympass, you can see how product ops emerged as a structural team to support the rapid scaling of their product organization. It's not just about having more product managers, it's about creating the infrastructure for product management itself.
Yes, and the Lopez example is particularly interesting because it shows how professional services can be a structural team. When you have complex products that require implementation support, you need a dedicated team that understands both the product and the customer's environment. They become the bridge between what the product can do and what the customer needs it to do.
This connects beautifully to the Team Topologies framework by Matthew Skelton and Manuel Pares that the article references. The idea of stream aligned teams, enabling teams, complicated subsystem teams, and platform teams provides a vocabulary for thinking about these relationships systematically, rather than just organically.
Team topologies is incredibly valuable because it gives us a framework for intentional organization design. Instead of just throwing people into teams and hoping for the best, we can deliberately design team structures that optimize for fast flow, clear responsibilities, and minimal cognitive load. Structural teams, in this context, are primarily enabling teams and platform teams.
But let's dig deeper into the implementation challenges. One thing I've observed is that organizations often struggle with the transition from having generalist teams to establishing these specialized structural teams. There's this fear of creating silos or introducing bureaucracy. How do you navigate that cultural shift?
That's an excellent question, and it touches on one of the most common pitfalls. The key is to frame structural teams not as gatekeepers, but as accelerators. When you introduce a SRE team, for example, the messaging shouldn't be now you have to go through them for deployments. Instead, it should be now you have experts who will help you deploy more safely and frequently. That transition requires clear communication about the value proposition and measurable improvements in developer experience.
That measurement aspect is crucial. I imagine you need leading indicators, not just lagging ones. For instance, instead of just measuring number of incidents, you'd want to track time to deploy or developer satisfaction with tooling. It's about proving that structural teams actually increase velocity rather than just adding overhead.
Absolutely. And this connects to something the article touches on briefly but deserves more attention: the concept of internal customer satisfaction. Structural teams should treat product teams as their customers. A data team should regularly survey product managers about the quality and timeliness of insights they're providing. A design ops team should measure how quickly designers can access the resources they need. When structural teams optimize for internal customer satisfaction, external customer value typically follows.
This reminds me of how companies like Spotify and Netflix have evolved their structural teams over time. Spotify's famous squad model isn't just about autonomous squads. It's equally about the tribes, guilds, and chapters that provide structural support. Netflix's approach to chaos engineering through their specialized SRE practices is another example of structural teams enabling innovation rather than constraining it.
Those are perfect examples, and they highlight something important. Structural teams evolve with organizational maturity. What works for a 50-person startup is different from what works for a 5,000-person company. Early stage companies might have one person wearing multiple structural hats, but as you scale, you need dedicated expertise. The art is knowing when to make that transition and how to sequence the introduction of different structural teams based on your specific bottlenecks and growth patterns.
The sequencing question is fascinating because it's so context dependent. A data heavy company might need data teams early on, while a consumer facing app might prioritize design ops and user research. There's no one size fits all playbook. which makes this both challenging and intellectually interesting for organizational designers. It requires understanding your unique value creation process and identifying where structural support would have the highest leverage. What I find particularly compelling is how this challenges the myth of the fully autonomous product team. True autonomy isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about having access to the capabilities and support you need to make decisions and execute them effectively. Structural teams actually enable greater product team autonomy by removing obstacles and providing reliable services.
That's a profound insight, Clara. It's similar to how having good roads and traffic systems actually gives you more freedom to drive where you want, not less. The infrastructure enables the freedom rather than constraining it. When structural teams work well, product teams spend less time fighting with tools and processes and more time focused on customers and outcomes.
And looking forward, I wonder how the rise of AI and machine learning will impact structural teams. Will we see new types of structural teams emerging, like AI ops teams or responsible AI teams? Will existing structural teams need to evolve to support AI enhanced product development?
That's a fascinating question that extends beyond the current article. I think we're already seeing the emergence of MLOps teams that bridge machine learning and operations. As AI becomes more integral to products, we'll likely need specialized teams that can manage model lifecycle, ensure ethical AI practices, and handle the unique infrastructure requirements of AI systems. The principles remain the same: create specialized expertise that enables product teams to focus on customer value.
Before we wrap up, I should mention that at the end of this article on Jocko.com, you'll find detailed information about Jocko's workshop services, mentoring programs, and digital books, all designed to help organizations implement effective product vision and culture. These resources can be particularly valuable for leaders trying to navigate the complexity of structural and product team design.
This was a new episode of Beyond the Article Expanded by AI.
To read the original article and explore more content from Jocko Taurus, visit jocko.com. That's Gyhaco. And at the end of the article, you'll find information about Jocko's workshop services, mentoring, and digital books for those who want to implement product vision and culture in their company.
Thank you for joining us. See you in the next episode.